I started this podcast because I love talking about lucid dreams and dream work, and I want to get into research myself. So, I find it quite fascinating what you do. But I've been a lucid dreamer since I was 8, so I'm quite experienced with lucid dreams.
You said you had a lucid dream since 8, and how often do you have? What's your frequency?
Right now, it's like 3 to 4 times a week.
Oh, okay.
Frequency.
That's pretty high.
Yeah. It's pretty high frequency for me. I'm quite experienced with it, and I have good dream control and doing tasks and things. So yeah, I'm always looking for ways that I can contribute to research because I know how hard it is to get lucid dreamers in the lab, get lucid and do work on that kind of stuff. So
the first step is how to get a lucid dreamer. The second step is how to build trust with them, because some of them are making claims that are actually not so reliable, because I see the data all the time. When they say something and it doesn't match up with the data, I can say, oh, okay, they're trying to impress me, but it's not really what it really happened.
So what are you looking for in terms of your research? What are you working on right now?
Oh, we developed a Brainwave-Sensing headband. So it was developed for research, cognitive research, and psychology, neuroscience, that kind of stuff. We had this developed for a long time, 5 years ago. It was for the psychology professors and was released right before the COVID. So during the COVID and the research, most of the research psychology, because it involved human, and they stopped at the school. So we couldn't keep this product going because all the users are on freeze. So we had a small lucid dreaming detour, exploration for using this. And the headband can support sleep for the whole night, and it's pretty comfortable. And we have, myself also have a decent lucid dreaming experiences, and not like you're natural, but me, I was more learned and trained. So started with some groups in the Reddit to talk about lucid dreaming, and more people get interested, and they tried our device, and I help them look at the data and can match up with their dream and the actual data matter from the brain. So that's how we did it for about 2 years during the pandemic. It was really long, feels really long.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we got a lot of data from that. And we also incorporated several popular lucid dream inducing methods in the app. So there are simple ones and there are complicated ones. And I'm sure for beginners, you don't want to, or it's challenging for you to memorize all the steps. What do you do, what, when? And we automate it in the app, and there's audio cue to tell you what to do when, and the app will play certain sound or even flash the screen as a visual stimulation. And then at the same time, the headband can track the progress that you fall into sleep and entering the dream. So also during the dream, there are several protocols can interact with your dream at different timing of the dream. You can play a sound or flash the screen or something like that. And the most advanced protocol we had is we allow the lucid dreamers to signal the outside world using eye movements. If you have read some of the research articles, there are experiments in the lab that allow the lucid dreamer to look in the dream world left, right. And very often, they will correspond to your eye movement moving left, right. Eye movements can be caught by the sensor on the forehead and then transfer into the mobile app can recognize it by using some algorithm. So that way, we allow a dreamer to communicate with the outside world in the dream.
That's so fascinating. I love that. Yeah, I was reading your website about Enchanted Wave, and the headband seems super cool and efficient. So props to you for coming up with that. I have a lot of questions for you about it. But first, I wanted to ask you on a personal note, I know there's a lot of uses for the headband, but what got you interested in lucid dreaming particularly?
Well, my background by education was neuroscience. So I always had this interest in neuroscience, especially cognitive neuroscience. After the movie Inception, a lot of people know it's about. There's a small elevation of talking about lucid dreaming or dreaming related topics. And I saw some of the articles, and just based on my background, I wasn't really convinced that that's a real thing. I think it's more like a pseudoscience or folk science. But there was so much talking about it for some time. I just thought of that topic during the day, And there was one night I had a lucid dream myself. So just all of a sudden I realized, oh, this is dream. And I could, on the first day, manipulate my dream contents. And I declared this is my kingdom. And I had some kind of superpower over in the dream. So after I woke up, I realized, oh, okay, this is a genuine, very different moment in cognitive status. That may open up a new window for research, because most of the time when we do cognitive research, your brain are working on many tasks, including control the body, or at least communicating with the body. For a lot of special cognitive moments, such as a deep meditation or yoga, so much claim that is, not very normal, not very common in terms of regular, scientific observations. But if you want to verify them, it's really, really difficult to find the right person to replicate. It's almost impossible to repeat the results. So scientific value for some research that you cannot repeat diminish a lot. But so for lucid dreaming, well, after some research myself, after I had my first occasion, I read some articles and I realized this can be learned and trained. I did learn and train myself, and I found it's repeatable. And then I thought this research can be repeated, and this special moment that your brain has very minimal control or communication with the body give a special or very unique state that you can study the consciousness with the least interference from the other perspective.
Lucid dreaming gives us such a good way to study different states of consciousness. It's quite fascinating. When using the headband or studying brain waves, how accurate is it in terms of like when I do the signal in the lucid dream that it's able to be picked up?
The signals are accurate. However, it needs an algorithm to recognize the sleep stage. That is a very complicated process. So long story short, we can do it, the recognition of the sleep stage, pretty accurately. But to your question, if someone were to signal the outside of world with eye movement, it takes some learning and practice. It's just like, learning practice to enter lucid dream and to control your lucid dream, control your own lucid dream and do certain things in the dream. It also takes some control. And for many times, even myself get distracted. I still get excited for even after several years. And I think I want to do this, I want to do that, and but when I actually in the lucid dream, there's still something appearing in the dream that just get my attention, get me distracted. Yeah, so it still takes some practice to actually do it, to signal to the outside world.
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine, because even as an experienced lucid dreamer, I can't always have full dream control, or I'm not always able to do what I need to do. And then even so, if I am able to do it, I'm not sure that it would even pick up on an EEG, but maybe it would. I've never tried the headband myself, but it seems really cool. Is your goal for it mainly to target researchers, or does it have a use for just the everyday person?
Yeah, we are trying to expand the user group to everyday person. I think the lucid dreamer is a good application, and also personally I have a lot of curiosity in this field. So I would like to help people who, like me, who has interest in lucid dreaming or dream explorations and uses and see their own data. And we have some educational material on the website to help regular people who doesn't have a EEG background or neuroscience background to understand what is what and why they're there. So yeah, we are trying to make this more friendly for regular people without non-researchers for the dream and also for some awake functions as well.
Yeah, that's great. I think it has a lot of uses as well. And on the research side of things, what type of research projects and discoveries have been made using this technology?
We have researchers using this for monitor the cognitive state change dynamics during meditation, during sports exercise, and even during e-gaming, video game play. So also a study of a drug effectiveness on certain population. So it's pretty diverse.
When it comes to lucid dreaming, how can having your brainwave data give us information about what's going on in the brain while we're lucid dreaming?
Well, the brainwave data can tell that you're dreaming because when you dream, your brain is pretty active. So for the active one, the beta, especially the high beta and the gamma band, will be very bright. almost like you're awake. So especially when I'm thinking, and the band is very bright, so you can recognize them as a dream. There are some researchers claim they can tell this is a lucid dream or not, but there aren't enough data to support or enough observations to support a solid conclusion that is commercially ready. And when I say commercially ready, I mean usually if you make a product, it has to be accurate for 90% of the case or 80% of the case. Not comparing to research, you just find a significance statistically. So I'll say it will be pretty reliable to tell that you're in a dream, but it will be not very reliable at this technology or just any technology at this moment to tell that you're in a lucid dream reliably.
Yeah, understandable. I imagine that's why, researchers will rely on the signaling response from the lucid dreamer from within the dream to indicate that they, were in the dream, or them waking up and saying, oh yeah, I was just in a lucid dream. I can see how it gets complicated with research. What are you looking to see in the future in terms of lucid dreaming research? Is there anything that you would like to know about lucid dreaming or that you're hoping to see?
Well, I would like to see more advanced lucid dreaming research. The research was kind of a lag behind, was mostly because it was difficult to measure the brain activity or difficult to get a subjective measure of the cognitive states overall. Most of the lucid dream study you have to do in the lab. You have to wear EEG cap with wires and, a traditional EEG. But with the wearable approach that we have, it is possible, you do this at home, you share with your friends, or you just do it for your, study just for yourself, or collaborate with some researchers out there who has the research mind and knowledge, but not enough or not the appropriate dreamers. So all of these can contribute to a faster study of lucid dream and a cognitive neuroscience overall.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So in your lab, as you're developing this technology, are you also doing studies with it yourself?
Yeah, I have the most data from myself, yes.
Oh, nice.
I was learning this for every night for like 2 years when I was doing the lucid dream study, because I can lucid dream. I know which moment when I wake up, I can tap on my app and just make a note that I had a dream. So second morning, I can look at my data. I can recognize each event down to second. A new scene appeared. I turned my head. I can see my eye movement signal from the app. So I can correlate from my dream log event to the EEG signal. So I have a lot of data for myself, and we have a lot of data from the volunteer participants as well. Now there's several labs there's only a very small number of several labs in the US and in Europe that studies lucid dream. Well, the total number of labs study lucid dream is quite small. So you said you have a community where you join a community, something like that?
Yeah, I have my own communities online. I make videos and do content about lucid dreaming to beginners and also to advanced lucid dreamers. So I do dream groups and things like that.
Okay.
Because, I love teaching about it. I think it's really just important work.
Yeah, sounds very good. Sounds very interesting. When do you graduate? Have you got your master, or you will get your master soon?
No, I finished my master's already. And so my next step is probably going to do a PhD, but I haven't started yet. I'm still planning it out.
Oh, okay.
So the other thing I wanted to ask you too, because you mentioned you were at first maybe more skeptical about lucid dreaming, which I notice happens a lot in the neuroscience world. Why do you think that is, that a lot of people don't understand lucid dreaming or have an interest in it, or maybe they still see it as like a spiritual thing instead of something that can be studied academically?
There are two reasons. For one, there has been a lot of the dream has been studied or kind of defined, or people have some common sense even in the research world, the way how they look at dream. And they think, certain neuron groups are activated, but certain neuron groups are turned off. So that's the reason that most people, you don't know that you're dreaming, because certain neuron group that are in charge of self-awareness, they are off in the dream biologically. That's one reason. Another reason is the lab that doing this research, the way they identify or define a subject or participant is in lucid dream is not very completely defensive or weakless. Sorry, I don't know the proper word for that. If there's a researcher want to say your design has a flaw because you rely on a PSG to define a dream or not, PSG itself is not 100%. PSG is mostly, most people think it's 70% accurate. And even with a real person making the corrections, it's maybe 90% accurate. And so that's a apparent, design flaw in the identification part of a dream. So if the researcher saying, okay, I have this participant signal me left, right from a dream, the other researcher would argue, look, your participant just had a micro awake, and this person woke up for several seconds, signaled you, and fall back to sleep. And that is almost impossible for PSG to detect to start with, because PSG using a 30-second framework and time frame, which called epoch. So that will be a very difficult question to answer. In the conference that we went to together, or that you were going together, I doubt if there will be someone really harshly challenging them in face during the presentation. But for regular researchers, studying dream, when they see publication like that, they will have this question in mind. They don't bother to ask, but they will not be impressed or by convinced by reading this paper. This is a confirmed lucid dreamer. And just the fact that lucid dreaming is still a rare phenomenon, unless someone like me really had it and cleared my doubt, cleared my knowledge on this, it would be hard for someone to actually believe, for some researcher to believe. One small note on that also, a lot of the discussion of lucid dream are mixed up with out-of-body experience, telepathy, those kind of topics, which are very, very against the common scientific society's knowledge. That's why putting the lucid dream a little blurry sticker on it.
Yeah, there's so many skeptics out there about what it means to be in a lucid dream, and especially if people have never experienced it. I feel like experiencing it firsthand can really give you an idea of what it means to be lucid. How valuable are lucid dreamers' reports in the research? Like, if you have data saying that I signaled left, right, and in addition to that, you have my report saying, yeah, I was in a dream when I did that, and I was lucid inside the dream. I mean, is that valued at all? I mean, I guess people could lie, but
it's valuable. However, it will need to be verified with the data. Like I have our participant claiming that, and when I look at the data, I know, oh, look, this person has alpha wave. He's already awake. Even for a few seconds, that is not a detectable or not easily detectable from a PSG, which using an epoch of 30 seconds. My device has very fine time resolution. If I look at the data, I can zoom in, zoom out on the time domain. I can see appearance of alpha, which is indication of even very brief awake. Or there's no alpha. There's a continuous distribution of beta and gamma, which indicate this person has been in the sleep all the time, except a few eye movements appeared. That is more a verified continuous dream. So I would say self-claim is one way to trigger this study more or easier, because I can match up with the time. Once this person told me I had a lucid dream, around that time I woke up, I tapped on the phone, I made a note. that's a good trigger for me to go back and look at the data to confirm. But without the data confirmation, I would not believe. I'm I'm not skeptical, but I'm just trained with a lot of research experience to not to believe until I see.
Yeah, definitely. It's important to have the data to back it up. I mean, if you want to publish it. So it makes complete sense. And so from your understanding, can you only lucid dream during REM sleep, or can you lucid dream outside of REM sleep?
Well, that depends on how you define lucid dream. Before you fall asleep, there's a few minutes period that you had a hallucination. It's usually called hypnagogia. And some people want to include them as a lucid dreaming concept. Since lucid dreaming doesn't have a clear definition, so it's a debatable statement. But I would rather separate them, differently. One is a hypnagogic hallucination. The other one that appears in the REM sleep, that is more lucid dream. There are possibilities that you have dream during non-REM stage after sleep. According to most of the studies, those dreams tend to be non-story-like, less visual, maybe strong emotion or not, but doesn't seem to be a immersive experience type of dream. So I would say the chance that lucid dream appears in those states would be very small. I cannot make any conclusion because we have no data, but just from the logic, from the knowledge perspective, I would say most likely if you are a lucid dreamer, if you are trained yourself as a regular, common lucid dreamer using the very common method we see online, we see on the books, and your dream would be, your lucid dream will be in the REM phase.
Yeah, it makes sense. This is why I've been wanting to study it myself, because I want to at least get a sleep tracker so I can know when I'm in REM and compare it to the times I had my dreams. I think it's important data to have. So yeah, that's interesting. And so the sound cues that help people become lucid, how are we able to hear things while we're dreaming, and how does that induce lucidity?
That is a very good point, and it's very confusing. I hope you get a chance, since you have a podcast, I hope you get a chance to clear some of the confusions for the people out there. That's a common belief many people had because of some of the earlier startup Kickstarter projects. People believe if you are in the dream, you hear a sound, you can realize you're in the sound, or you see something, you can realize you're in the dream. It's not true for most of the case. Because you're from biology, from the revolution, your brain are trained to wake up easily. If there is a significant interference by sound or by visual, true. I mean, it's not all the time. It depends on you, depends on each person. There's a huge personal variation. I can tell from the users we had, the chance that someone hear a sound or see a light during a dream that triggers a lucidity in the dream without waking up, the chance is low. So by statistics, the chance that it is successful is not very promising. It could happen for some people. For some people who can, I think there's a dependency on age, also dependency if you are a good sleeper or not. We have found several factors that are related, but because of the data size is not large enough, I cannot say there's a significant observation based on that. But it seems to be a lot of there's a correlation with age, with a good sleeper or not, that can make you or make someone trigger a lucidity in a dream or not. But I would say for regular person who is not qualified for that, or whose brain or body condition is not optimized for that mechanism, the best chance are still the popular lucid dream induction method to getting the lucidity. There are several ones from our empirical testing. I can tell you it's more effective than not. And don't trust the YouTube. The YouTube, I mean, I don't say they're all wrong, but the YouTube is so mixed, and there are so many people claim or making false claims, make exaggerations, and disrupting people's trust on this topic.
Yeah, it's important to, have real information out there that people can rely on. I hear, what about binaural beats? How effective is that at altering your brain waves to get into a
Yeah,
state of mind easier for lucid dreaming?
very interesting topic. We had a group. We have a research group we're working with. We're working on binaural beats. That's a very complicated topic. First of all, binaural beats are not very well studied in the research world. If you look at papers, binaural beats, the mechanism it's induce a artificial swinging sensation built in the brain. There are several other mechanisms can deliver similar result, which make binaural beats one of the options, but not a magical, not a wand or something. Okay. So essentially the mechanism is to trigger a synchronization using an external frequency, hopefully to trigger a synchronization of your brain activity. Because your brain neuron group, they're also working in certain frequencies. But if you have some basic scientific training or physics training, you will know if a external stimuli trigger a internal object, there's a common law that mandates that the triggering frequency works that is very close to the intrinsic frequency of that object to be able to drive it stronger. You think of a swing. So if you push a swing, you have to push the swing according to the swing's internal frequency, internal pace to make the swing go up and down harder, more. If you push the swing at a totally different frequency, it won't work at all. So binaural beats is like the pushing force. You are, adding a 800 hertz or whatever hertz on your brain. So if it happens to be in the same frequency as a neuron group that is working as a trigger for your consciousness, it may work just by chance. But I will say you are taking the chance, or this kind of approach is a taking the chance. Or better term to say, okay, it will work for some people if your frequency is matching up with the external frequency that you pick from a binaural beats or from a regular beat or from any frequency driving or any music, any sound source with a certain frequency. So it may work. I will not say it won't, but it's by chance. The chance is not random. The chance is happen to match up with the intrinsic frequency of the neuron group that is in control of your consciousness in the brain. And also assuming, because the audio processing has two pathways. One is if the neuron pathway feed into the auditory processing portion, you will hear it. If the auditory stimuli went through the other pathway, which is the arousal one, that will wake you up fast before you can hear it or you can recognize. So the binaural beats works depends on, first, if you wake up or not. Second, if it match up with your frequency or not.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you for that explanation. And I also noticed, like, back to what you said about YouTube, it's hard to find true binaural beats online as well that actually have the oscillating frequencies and they're not just sounds playing. So there's a lot of factors in it for sure. I'm excited to see where the research goes in the future. I think there's a lot of work to be done in terms of researching this kind of stuff.
The website you have is Enchanted Wave, our official website, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we actually have a different website for lucid dreamers, for Dream Explorer users. I can send you that, and that is probably a better explanation of our technology for the dreaming application. We give you the discount because you are a lucid dreamer. We are always having a discount for lucid dreamers, and you're in the society, you're helping the society. We're more happy to give you a higher discount for just to try it out, to explore. So once you have a headband, you can try it, and if you have any problem, I can help you look at data and can help you, guide what to do next, how to do it better, something like that.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, that would be great. I mean, I'll definitely support and pay whatever price I need to. I definitely am excited to try it out and see what kind of data I can get.
Okay, sounds great. And thank you for your contribution of the dream study and lucid dreaming. This is a field that deserves more effort and more people, more resource.
Yes, I agree. So thank you so much as well for everything you've done. I'm excited to see what comes out of it.
Okay,